Boogeymen of formats have always existed, from standard to modern and everywhere in between. Nowhere is it more true than Commander. The full moon might bring out the sweaty players or pub stompers, but Silver Bullet Solutions is here to answer the collective cry of players across all LGSs. Essentially, there are strong commanders out there, and today we are going to look at 5 cards that you might be able to incorporate into your decks to better deal with them, as well as 2 honorable mentions for commanders you could run to deal with them. The commander in our sights is Miiryum Sentinel Worm, but someone is joining me on this exploration of ways to put this dragon below the dungeon. Joe, aka Nerd in Korea.
Hello, this is Joe from Nerd in Korea. This channel is all about budget deck building. When I say budget, I mean $2 or less. Keep it almost always under $2 or less, and we do budget deck techs. We do deep dives on all kinds of budget lists. So, for instance, we do budget Kindred, and we break down each Kindred by like what it does and what it's good at, and budget recommendations for that. So like elves, we had Manadros, we had Scry, we had commanders, synergy, just like Kindred synergy. All of those lists we compile and we put onto something that's very easy for you to watch and find information on. So if you want to check it out, please do. What we are looking at today is a list of cards that can counter Miiryum Sentinel Worm very well. If you've played against dragon decks, you know they're pretty terrifyingly strong. Miiryum, I remember when this card came out, I saw it and I was thinking about my friend's dragon Kindred deck, and I was like, oh no. This is kind of like if you had an elf card that just said, if an elf creates mana, you win. Like, that's what elves do. What do you talk about? It's really green. Blue, red, so Teamer, 6/6, Flying Ward 2. Does it need Ward 2? I don't know. Anyway, whenever another non-token dragon enters the battlefield under your control, create a token that's a copy of it, except it isn't legendary, if the dragon is legendary. Do dragons need this? Do they need it? I think they don't, but it exists, so there you go. This is terrifying. Yeah, just an extra dragon every time you make a dragon. Sure, why not?
Now, Miiryum has terrorized playgroups ever since entering the game, from being able to make non-legendary tokens, Ward 2, and being in one of the most well-supported types of Magic the Gathering. So if you're looking at ways to shut down your local Miiryum player, here are the honorable mentions for some commanders you could play, before we get into the list proper. Kumbal Profiteering Mare might not squeeze the most juice from the Miiryum player, but just picking up dragon tokens for existing isn't bad. And show me a bad dragon that Miiryum would play. Not only that, with tokens being a prevalent strategy and only growing, you can really do some interesting things with it. Second is Taigum Ojutai Master. Arguably, one of the strongest abilities of Miiryum is the Ward 2, making most cheap removal borderline unplayable, and really expensive removal, well, actually unplayable. Well, Ward and Uncounterable have an interesting interaction. Uncounterable doesn't care about Ward. It might as well not have it. This also means if you play a bounce spell or removal spell with Taigum's rebound ability active, Miiryum players are basically held back twice, because they won't want to play Miiryum out only to have it taken again. Now let's get into the list proper.
So number 5 on our list here, Aligned Hedron Network. I think this is a great card. It's an artifact for 4 colorless, and when it enters the battlefield, exile all creatures with power 5 or greater until it leaves the battlefield. So this is just getting rid of all the dragons. So even things like Ward and stuff like that, that doesn't matter. There's no target, right? It's not targeting, so you don't have to care about things like Ward. It's just moving them all off the battlefield. All of those tokens cease to exist as soon as they go to exile as well. Of course, when Miiryum comes back, she's going to make them all again, but hopefully in the meantime you're able to like pull off a win or something like that.
Number 4, Crafty Cut Purse. This is a phenomenal card for almost any blue deck. If you have a way to blink it, the threat remains. And with Miiryum's ability, it isn't a maybe, so they have to make a token, which you can flash in this Crafty Cut Purse and take it right out from under them. Number 3, Mob Rule. I don't know about you, but I haven't seen a small dragon. Mob Rule is a fantastic way to let Miiryum go wild with dragons and tokens, only to flip the script on them by taking their whole board and swinging at them with their own creatures. You know what they say, live by the dragon, die by the dragon, or something like that.
Number 2 is Slaughter the Strong. This is one of my go-to board wipes for sure. 1 white for this sorcery. Each player chooses any number of creatures they control with total power 4 or less, then sacrifice the other creatures they control. So if you don't have a creature that has power 4 or less, you sacrifice everything. So those dragons, those big chunky boy dragons, they're getting sent to the graveyard. Sacking is also great because things like Indestructible doesn't care, Hexproof doesn't care. There's no target, right? It's targeting the player, really, not the creatures. So this gets around all kinds of things that are usually problematic. An amazing card to put in like almost any deck, and it's 8 cents only. 8 cents. Crazy.
And the #1 card for taking down your local Tyrant Miiryum player is Karthus, Tyrant of Jund. You know what the best way to shut down a Miiryum deck is? Take their commander, which is exactly what Karthus does. It doesn't only take their commander, it takes the whole board. And it's not until end of turn. It's not until Karthus leaves the battlefield. It's permanent. Hope you Miiryum players have a sack outlet. Oh, and let's see how you like having to remove your own dragon while also paying that annoying ward too.
Here are our list of top 5 counters for Miiryum. Aligned Hedron Network is 22 cents. Crafty Cup Purse is 20 cents. I love this one. This was Typical Gemini's idea, and it's just stealing all those tokens they keep creating. Absolutely hilarious. Mob Rule is $1.89. This is a card I meant to put in a bunch of decks. Slaughter the Strong, 8 cents. And Karthus, Tyrant of Jund, is $4.20. Take it easy.
Thank you so much for joining us for Silver Bullet Solutions. Huge shout out to Nerd in Korea. If you want to watch more of their excellent work, you can find his channel in the description below. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel, and I appreciate it greatly. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.